Welcome to the final day of the SAL Challenger Series, where we get to send one more team to the SAL, which is kicking off in just a few weeks from now. My name is Anne, I'll be your host for today, and joining me on the analyst desk as well as for the cast, we have the wonderful Chem and Hap. And Chem, you told me earlier before this, you've never worked a day of the SAL. Are you excited to be here in this new region for you?
I absolutely am, yeah. It's the first time I've got to lend my voice to some of this region, and you know they've dominated things for quite some time. You know, it's not been a secret, so it's been nice to actually get into this and actually have a little discussion about these teams like, directly, and you're not just sitting on the sidelines watching.
I love it. And for you as well, Hep, I mean, you worked one day with us last stage, jumping in on this here, but now getting to see some of the Tier 2 action and to see what SAL, I mean, stay in Tier 2 really has to offer.
Yeah, of course, I had the pleasure to see the Tier 1 teams over the various majors and 6 invitationals, but now we really get to go to, well, I don't think grassroots is the right word, but at least the feeding grounds for that Tier 1 league, indeed, to see where all these monsters are made.
I like how you're calling it the feeding grounds, because it really is like that. We see a few of the well-established names inside of the SAL try and find their way back into SAL inside these Challenger Series here, but it's also about the up-and-coming prodigies. We've seen it before, where newer players will join these Tier 1 teams, have been shining through the Challenger Series, get picked up by the big teams, and they make a name for themselves inside the league as well. I would like to take a look at the bracket to see how far we've really gotten so far inside the SAL Challenger Series, because only the last 2 days were officially broadcast. Of course, all of that before broadcasted by our wonderful community casters. But here is how we've gotten so far. And yesterday we saw the upper bracket final with Imperial making it to the SAL, a quick 2-0 over 9Z, and that means they have a chance again today.
Yeah, that is true. Like, we had it yesterday in EUL, today here, of course. Like, if you would have lost that upper bracket match, the upper final, you'd still have that other shot of taking the qualification spot through that lower bracket final. The one thing you would have to worry about, however, is the fact that you're coming off a loss and your opponents will be coming off a pretty hot victory.
Yeah, that's the worrying part about it. You know, I'm excited more about the fact that we're getting a rematch. That's what I'm looking at. That's what's caught my eye a bit more. The fact that we've already seen this team already play against one another. INTZ, of course, were the losers in that respect. I just want to see what adjustments they can make. I really want to get to grips with the map veto. I think that's where this will be won and lost. I think that it will come down to that. Who's gonna if can, you know, INTZ finally get out on top of 9Z. I don't really know how it's going to go. I'm just trying to, I don't know how to feel about it after the fact that they've already won twice.
It's difficult, especially there is so much pressure on the shoulders of 9Z now, because they had that one chance yesterday with the upper bracket. Would they have won that match yesterday, they would have nothing to worry about today here with this extra best of 3. But because they lost that yesterday, they find themselves here now. But another loss means no more extra chances. You have to wait a whole year for another shot of making it back into the SAL. And we've seen these players on the side of 9Z, right? We're talking about a core of 3 different players that we've seen inside, or sorry, 3 different teams that we've seen inside the SAL. But for 9Z, the same. We're looking at players that are seeking redemption because of a poor stage 2 last year. But as I said, Chem, the game can be won in the map veto. I would love to dive into that one as well and see what maps we will have for this best of 3 here. And then once we do get that map veto, and once we see which 3 maps have been selected for this matchup, please, Chem, any maybe expectations of where we'll see this match be going to?
I have a feeling we'll see Chalet again. We've already seen it twice between these teams, and they've lost. It's been a decider, and they've lost. You know, they've won it this twice in that time. There is, yeah, right. I was stumbling over my words there. I was trying to look at the veto at the same time. But yes, Chalet does come through. I was kind of expecting that to happen. We've seen already been won by 9Z. It's INTZ that pick onto it. So we'll see, of course, if they've made adjustments this time to get a bit better. Bank also coming through. I really enjoy that. 9Z had a good start yesterday on Bank versus Imperial, but Imperial just turned on the afterburners and ran away with that entire series.
The fun thing about Bank is that it was the final ban of INTZ both times they played 9Z. So maybe that has gone through and 9Z realized, okay, they've banned it last twice. Let's just pick it up now to make sure that we're actually getting to play, because there must be a reason that they're, avoiding it for that long. So that might be the reason why it's going in first now.
And then Fortress as a decider, which is, it's the newest map in the map pool here, so there's a lot of unknowns on that one. I'm glad we got to see it so much during the Six Invitational, one of the full overtime points or maps rather on during the grand final as well. Expectations maybe for that one, because it's risky. It's constant risk managing, right, for situations like this for these important best of threes. But to go to Fortress, such a unknown map as the final map to decide whether you make it or just fall short of the SAL.
I mean, that's the thing, right? And Fortress is that map where it is still in development. People are still trying to figure it out. Teams are still trying to figure it out. And the innovation just keeps on coming and keeps on coming. INTZ's actually played it in their lower bracket quarterfinal, lost it there with a 7-1 loss. So, you know, that would be quite a thing to look at. When they played against 9Z earlier, it was a 7-5 win for them. So it's not the best statistics to go into it for them. Given that earlier loss and, of course, the close matchup they had against 9Z. So it's a really close veto, I'd say.
I'm just excited for Fortress just as a whole, to be honest. We've seen quite a lot of Fortress growing into the map pool. You know, Six Invitational showed us so much Fortress. I was really surprised at how much it was actually picked up at that event, and it's continued all the way through all of the Challenger Series for every single region. Everybody's been happy to play on Fortress, they've been comfortable playing on it. I think we've got a real... to go out on a limb right now, I think we actually have the most competitive map pool that we've ever had. I think it is the best map pool. I think every single map's viable, and you've got, you know, I have a little bit of hatred for Border just because it doesn't get the standard Siege kind of play going, but it's like a little kind of refreshment sometimes. But we won't see that today. We'll see Bank instead today, so we'll get some aggression.
It is, definitely. And then Bank, I feel like is a map we've seen so far a lot inside of these Challenger Series across the regions here. Speaking of these two teams a little bit more in depth, we're talking about INTZ, a roster that was picked up. It was originally Magnetica. They were picked up by INTZ during these Challenger Series here. And we're looking at a core of this roster, which was essentially 3 different teams inside the SAL last year. And then the thing is, they barely made it inside these, well, this playoff phase, actually. They had to go 3-2 over the Swiss stage inside the Challenger Series, the first part of it. And then having this, I guess, you know, loss against 9Z twice inside those best of threes, it must be looming over them in this matchup.
Yeah, that will be definitely looming over them. And the thing now is as well, like, the pressure will definitely start to rise. This is your last chance. This is the only opportunity you'll have this year to make it as a team, because otherwise you might have to split up. You might get picked up one by one again from these teams. So a lot on the line for these teams.
Definitely is. And we could talk so much more about these teams, but the best thing is to just dive straight into the action. The most important best of 3 for both these teams is starting right now.
Thank you very much, Anne. Hap, we are ready to go on Bank, the first order of the day, the first map on the docket, and I am ready for it. 9Z, they fell short last night playing on this map already, and they got off to a good start. A couple of opening rounds that I thought, wow, they're putting up a good fight here against Imperial. They're looking pretty good, and then it just completely fell apart for them. But I do think that was more because of Imperial were just such a strong team. They've sailed through that upper bracket and not even dropped the map. Hap, this will be a dogfight, I think.
It definitely will be. And looking at that as well, like, they weren't able to pick up an attacking round yesterday, 9Z. So, of course, they will be starting off on the defense again. That was the side. They were able to pick up 3 rounds. They'll be looking to equal that or better it. But the attack is where the true troubles were last play day yesterday. So we're going to have to wait 6 rounds to see before that plays out. Until then, they'll have to do and try their best to make sure that they build as big as a buffer as possible to give themselves the best opportunity in Bank. As we're about to get underway, seeing some of the highlights and the operators as well. I believe it is a very quick technical pause that is stopping us from instantly getting into the action. But it allows us to just build up these stakes just ever so more slightly.
Yeah, absolutely. Cannot be understated just how much is on the line here. You have to go again. If you don't win this game, you have to come back next year, back to the drawing board. And, you know, like you've mentioned a couple of times, teams more likely to disband and move to different things and try different rosters and bounce around the place after that happens. We've already seen, you know, we were looking at EML yesterday. We've already seen a few teams over that weekend that have been eliminated that have immediately changed rosters, and some players even leaving. But they won't want that. They will want to get through today. Have another flash through the bracket to remind us as to how and where we are. Imperial Esports, of course, already qualified in comfortable fashion, like I said. But we are 9Z and INTZ. And you know what, Hap? We haven't done that this much this weekend, but we've got a little bit of time now. What are you thinking for your predictions?
You're bringing them back here. This is something that started back in Italy. It's still going on. Tough call for me. I mean, if I could be boring and just go by stuff that's happened in the past where 9Z was able to beat out INTZ and just say 9Z, but this is what I said before. Like, they're coming off a loss, a pretty convincing loss as well. At the very same time, it's a quick 2-0. INTZ were able to surprise their opponents and find out 2-0 that they are at a flow. They had the opportunity to just watch that game yesterday and pick up the points that they think can be exploited. And that's why, you know what? I'm just going to say INTZ. I'm not going to dance around it. That's it.
Eventually. It was a long way to get there, but we got one.
I was just giving you the brain threats as they were appearing in my head, but...
Appreciate it. I think that what's going to happen is I'm actually going on and say INTZ as well. I think that they will make enough adjustments. They've lost to them twice. I think that this is the time that they overcome them finally. But we'll see, of course, in just a few moments when we get into it. We have hopefully all 3 maps we get to see, because I do want to see Fortress again. I've been enjoying how much Fortress we've been getting, and I do hope we get there. First map, of course, is, as a reminder, is indeed Bank. Then Chalet is the second one. And they've already played Chalet between each other.
Yeah.
Both times on a decider, and both times 9Z won it. It was an 8-6 the last time they played each other, so it was a close game.
And that's what I was worrying as well, right? Like, it was close games that the coin can just flip the other way if you're going off those numbers. So with that said, it is literally an anyone's ball game. It's the last spot that can be taken for SAL. Imperial already managed to qualify earlier this weekend on the yesterday program. And now the very final game of these Challenger series to decide who's going to be making it. And you mentioned it before. If you don't make it now, Cham, it is a year of having to wait to have the opportunity as a team again to make it into the league. Of course, there is other ways. There is the opportunity that in the next roster change, we're going to have 1 or 2 of these players that do not end up making it now to be given an opportunity anyway on any of the other teams. But whilst that is great for those players, it's not what they're playing for right now. They're not playing for a chance to be potentially picked up during a roster lock. No, they're playing to be picked up now. They're playing to just make it, to qualify, to play in the top league of their region.
We never really got our teeth into the rosters as much actually before we started. We had a kind of brief discussion just before we got in terms of who's playing on what. But if you want kind of a side to choose, we've talked about it over the weekend. When we were doing EML yesterday, we were kind of talking about the fact that there was teams that were all one singular nationality, and they're all kind of banded together. We've seen lots of Italians, we've seen the French as well. This is what this game has as well. We've got a full Brazilian roster. We've got also a 4/5 of an Argentinian roster, with still a little bit of Chile also sprinkled in there. So I'm just enjoying the fact that we're going to get a little bit of different styles kind of playing. You've got that Brazilian tenacity, the Argentinians as well, also bringing a little bit of their own kind of style into the game. That's what kind of excites me. We get to see which nationality and which country is going to get themselves into SAL as well to represent, because I think we need... I'm also kind of thinking maybe it would be nice to get some Argentinians, more Argentinians in there than letting all the Brazilians
does that keep you up at night, Cham? That there's not enough Argentinians in the SAL?
Yes, that's what keeps me up at night. It's more about it's trying to push the Brazilian dominance away.
If you look at the Wikipedia now, currently, like, all players, of course, that are confirmed Brazilian. So it would be good for the league to have another country that is represented in there.
Yeah, exactly. But overall, I'm just excited. We're kind of waiting just to obviously get back into the game and get things kind of sorted. Yeah, so redoing the lobby and things like that before we get back started with Bank. How do you feel about Bank actually? I'm so intrigued when it comes to Bank because I'm never a big fan of actually playing it, but I love watching it so much. It's one of my favorite maps to watch. It's just so exciting.
There was this thing years back where Bank and Brazilian teams were a recipe for disaster for whoever was coming up against them. They just played it differently at that point, and of course, like everything has gone more close to each other. The playstyles have kind of like blended into one another. I think that's also partially due to like all the import and exports that have taken place, and people just taking that experience and that knowledge. But Bank as a whole, just completely disregarding the region we're in, gives you the opportunity for big roams, for a lot of time wasting, which means that your time management needs to be absolutely on point. You need to make sure that your drones are clearing effectively. If they're not clearing effectively, you will be running out of time. And especially on those basement attacks, when you have a Goyo, Tachanka, Smoke, maybe a Surya Laser Gate from the Aruni, there's like a Brazilian operators that you can name at that point. You need to make sure that you get rid of that utility early on. And there's ways to do that, like a Twitch or a Fuse or just sending in grenades or any other opportunity, but it needs to be done. And often when teams fail to do that on that basement site, their entire bank just doesn't really fare well.
Yeah, we're not going to, just yap amongst ourselves for a second. We are going to bring Anne back in so that we can have a little discussion with her whilst we wait. She's waiting in the wings to come through. Hello, Anne. Welcome back.
I was really excited to come back, just because I wanted to touch upon a few things that you two were saying. I know, Chem, you were talking a lot about the Argentinian stuff, right? I feel like it's that, to have more, different players inside of the SAL, but also for that revenge, right? We talked about INTZ before this match started. We didn't really get to touch up on 9Z, despite them having the heads up in this matchup, really. You're looking at a player like Nitro. You're looking at a player like Tuku. Last year, not a great time for them inside the SAL. Stage 2, 0 wins. They want that redemption. They want to make sure they find themselves back. They want to get that victory inside the SAL. Compete with the big dogs like a FaZe or a Furia, for example, which, by the way, if, what we're hearing, this whole league seems to be restructured. So that means there could be chances for everybody, right? There could be chances for all kinds of teams coming into this league come the 2026 competitive year. Now, another thing that I wanted to talk about is Bank. You two were talking about it. It could be a really dangerous map, and we saw that from 9Z yesterday. My main issue with them in that matchup yesterday was that they could do nothing about the issues that Imperial was causing to them. We saw players like Imperial being those slippery little snakes, hiding in the positions, and I mean that is where the map really comes to play. You can sit in these corners, you can wait, and you can really make time be that sixth defender on the defensive half.
Yeah, it's as I said, right? Like you need to make sure your drone work is on point so you can effectively clear out those floors as you go for your eventual push. And with just how many choke points are there in the map, like you need to make sure that you have utility left at the end of the day to also get rid of those defenses. And that's just where we see it go wrong too often. People not droning fully, people not bringing the right tools to deal with the puzzle that is being opposed to them by the defenders. I talked a lot about the basement side, but of course, if we go towards the top floor as well, you have Janitor. That room is so crucial for that entire take. And if mirror is open, you can guarantee there is going to be a mirror window played in that spot right there, just to make sure that the repels are going to be useless. The only way to deal with it at that point is to bring a Hibana, is to bring an Ace, someone that can open it up from range, and often we don't see that happen as well. So these are the kind of solutions that need to be found in the middle of the game.
Yeah. This comes back to what I was saying just at the start before we kind of got into the discussion of Bank about how that I really love watching it, but I don't really enjoy playing it because I think it's a really stressful map to have to play because there's just so much that you have to worry about. It's so open, you feel so exposed at all times. There's no way that you can feel like, oh, I've got my back to a wall here and I feel okay, unless you're Smoke and you're playing way far back. And I mean, I say Smoke, but it's usually Tachanka nowadays is what we're kind of going for. I'm also kind of just intrigued as to what they're going to adjust from yesterday, because I'm glad you brought that point up, and the fact that they just couldn't deal with what Imperial were doing. And I'm just wondering, can they get back to the winning ways that I seen at the start of that map yesterday? Because he looked fantastic for the first 3 or 4 rounds of Bank, and then it just capitulated.
And then they lost 6 rounds in a row, and that was really painful to watch if you were a 9C enjoyer. So yeah, no, I totally understand you. And of course, I'm having a great time talking with you too about this map, about this series. We're waiting for it to start. We're thanking you for your patience if you're still sticking around with us, waiting for this matchup to start as well. As I called it earlier, the most important matchup for these two teams that they might be playing inside of this year competitive. Of course, there is a Six Invitational, right? A player on the side of INTZ actually attended the Six Invitational with Elevate earlier in this year as well, but that all will mean nothing if it means you can't defend your positions at these international events inside the SAL with this year as well. And that's a funny point too, Chow. I mean, we're talking about that player in specific. We're talking about reps on the side of INTZ. He was in a whole nother region just a few months ago, right? Playing with Elevate, playing in the Asia region, now kind of fighting to get a spot back in one of the strongest regions that there currently is.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, he's used to it. He's been around the block a couple of times. He's been to events before. A lot of this roster, I'm glad you kind of brought up the international events actually, because Arthur has also been to a couple. E1, both STK and Arthur were part of the E1 roster that went to the Manchester Major. Me and Hat were kind of looking at it before. They lost all of their games to APAC that time, and they crashed out pretty much instantly. But they still went there. They still got experience, and that. So this roster does have a little bit of pedigree behind them, and of course, they are 5 Brazilians, and we've also seen how successful that is in Siege.
Got a couple titles between the Brazilians. Just a few. Not too many. A couple hammers. I said it yesterday. Zalanda Siege currently. There is no denying it. The passion is real. We saw it when we were there for Six Invitational a few years back. Like, the entire stadium just exploded for every kill we went through, and people were coming in their favorite jerseys, hometown heroes, entire interview crews from like local media. It just lives so much in Brazil, and you can only think of what that does with people that will be motivated to start playing, motivated to start competing. The grassroots are going absolutely insane, and so is then Tier 2 and Tier 1. They just have such a wide pool of talent to pick from.
And that's an exciting thing, right? It's a good sign that we have a lot of existing Tier 1 players. Like, for example, yesterday, Sexy Cake made his way back inside SAL after being relegated last year. That's a player that's been around the block for ages, right? Everybody that has seen Siege since like 2018 knows who Sexy Cake is. So the fact that we still have players that have already made a name for themselves way back competing inside Tier 2, but also the newer players, the up-and-coming players, for example, on the side of 9Z, together with Nitro and Tugu here, players that we maybe have not seen so much from in recent history. So that's a really exciting thing. It causes, and hopefully it will create, a very competitive SAL coming in this upcoming year, because when we look at the teams that have been qualified over all of the other regions, it really is looking strong, right? It's looking good for this. We're looking at a full Italian team. We're looking at a full French team inside of EML, but inside the SAL, it really is the question, will it be more Argentinian favored? Will it be more Brazil favored? The matchup starts now.
We are ready to go, Hap. We have got these technical issues out of the way, and we are going to sail through Bank.
Oh, you say that, but
absolutely perfectly so. That is what is going to happen. I'm telling you right now. Mercury might be in retrograde, but I refuse to allow the astrologists to win this weekend.
You didn't see the P that was posted there? Oh, look at that, look at that. You cursed it, Cham.
No.
I saw the P covered in. I was like, no. We will be remaking the lobby for the next time.
That's okay.
That's all right. I just have to watch it's we get paid for the amount of time that our faces are on broadcast, so they just have to get our face out to make sure.
That's back well.
It's like we chose this profession for a reason, right? We want to talk. Yeah. Let us talk.
We want to talk.
Well, we get to do a lot of that here. And I think it's, whilst we wait, obviously you two have been on the EML as well. I think it'd be nice to do a bit of a recap of the things that you two have seen on the EML too, right? We're talking about all these different regions. It's happening right across the board for the whole world. Earlier today, we had the APL right into the EML, right into the SAL, and then even, Chem, there's also NAL later as well. It's a good day to be a Siege enjoyer for sure.
Yeah, it's a shame that they're ending the night on the worst region, of course, any. So we've already boxed off the best region of the day, EML. SAL, I do enjoy my Brazilian Siege quite a bit. I've been a supporter of the Brazilian Siege for quite some time. I do like that for some reason we always end up actually disrespecting Brazilian Siege at events. For some, every single time Fury have won something, they've always been somehow the underdogs. Like, people have been like, oh yeah, Fury are finished, and then they win it again. I'm like, oh, come on. Like, how have we done this again? How have we done this again? But it's like a little recap as to what's been happening. Of course, EML, we've already qualified the 2 teams through. We've got Gigioleti, which is obviously the previous Matchgo core, and we've also got Team Secret Academy, which has moved through. And of course, they will not be known as Team Secret Academy going forward, but that's the Lems's return into Tier 1. And I'm glad you brought up the fact that Sexy Cake as well also getting a return to Tier 1. That's twice in a row he's did that, by the way. He did that last year, Challenger Series as well. Just was like, yeah, I'm just going to rock up and build a roster and show up and get myself back in SL. Why
just
not?
Likes the challenge, Like,
yeah.
It's no fun retaining your spot in the middle of the year. You want to make sure that you have to go through the entire difficult process of open qualifiers, close qualifiers, the Swiss stage, then playoffs, and he lives for the challenge. That's all you can say about it.
Yeah, I would appreciate if he did bring back the really long hair look that he had going on for a long time, because I do think he had the best hair in Tier 1 for quite some time. Sexy Cake.
If this goes on for really long, I think we're going to have to make a tier list to who has the best hair or the worst hair inside of Tier 1. Oh, no. I was only joking about that. No. I was joking about that. But I think it's a good sign to see that it's been so competitive, right? We talk about the Tier 2 of EML being extremely competitive, extremely cutthroat as well, right? There's many tournaments inside that ecosystem that allow you to keep playing the whole year if you stay consistent with your team, with your roster. There's so much for you to achieve, right? There's competitions all throughout the year, which is a very exciting thing for these teams. Same here inside of this region. And I like that you mentioned, Jem, that we've kind of been disrespecting these teams, right? Yeah. I feel like that was the whole storyline for FaZe, even all throughout the 6 Invitational. If you were to look at their stats, it wasn't looking all, rose and moonshine and everything. It wasn't looking great for them. It was looking quite poor with the stats, but they were really making sure they were stepping up every single time. That consistency, one of the longest rosters standing on the board. And one of these 2 teams wants to challenge them next year inside the SAL. 3rd time's the charm. I hope the game is actually starting right now. You 2 take it away.
I am not saying anything this time, Hap, all right? I'm not saying a word.
Remember what I said about Mira and Janitor?
You're right. You're correct.
I mean, Mira hasn't been placed down yet, but there is a Mira and there is a Janitor closet that is being played. So, I'm fully expecting to be proved right here by the kind 9Z.
See, now you've put yourself all out there. I did it earlier, to be fair, by trusting that we would have no more issues. You've done it now with the Mira. Now you need to be validated. Will Nitro do it? Whoa.
I have so much Mira play time in my life that I just know what he's gonna do.
Oh.
I have faith. He's placing it. See, he's placing it. What can I say?
You've perfectly called that strat. Speaking of calling strats, Tuku's not going to get to call anything. She's already dead. The DMR, nothing against Glaz's sniper rifle from STK. It finds its first death of the game. And 40 seconds burned away already as these players set things up on the rappel, start to look into the site, see if they can spot out where utility is placed, where players are standing around, and what positions they have to focus on. Of course, stock being a focus point here. Janitor always a big focus point on this top floor. Nitro's the one that is holding behind that mirror. Like you said, Hap, there you go. Full proof there for you.
Yeah, definitely. I never doubt. There's a twitch. Oh no! Zap the arm! Rather than actually being able to get the canister, that's going to be a bit of a wake-up though for Nitro. He's going to be aware of the fact that there could be a second shock drone coming in. There's still one in pocket for Legacy. As the tight angles are being watched. See Akiba being tossed out, instantly followed up by some shots to come through. The glass trying to cover off one of his angles as Nitro will find one through that mirror window. That's the diffuser dropped as well. Cold on the ground. They need to start picking that one up now, but it seems like they're actually going aggressive, Cham.
Yeah, they absolutely are. 3 versus 3. Scarps is Managed to get one back though. It's only him on his own. 1 versus 2 in front of him. A full 60 seconds left though. Scarps is not going to let this round slip away. SDK tried to take it by the scruff of the neck and he's gone now. A simple, good old-fashioned standoff between 2 players now for the opening round of Bank. Raps versus Scarps. Scarps now going for a sweep round to the other side of the front desk as Raps has got control of sight, but it's going to be a difficult fight back here to try and contest. They're just trying to find something, find an arm, a leg, anything that's going to pop out just to catch a shot. That is really nicely done from Scarps. Really great round from him. Nice 2-piece to finish it off. Pulls it back from the brink. Gets the first round on the board for 9Z.
And the kill that was taken earlier from Janitor, quite important here, Cham, because they had a 2v1 situation. There was the opportunity to go for plants if they wanted to. However, that diffuser knocked out the window on the very start of that round. They didn't decide to go for the pickup. They decided to just go for the kills instead, and comes back to bite them here. Weren't able to win out that situation, clutched out by the defending team. And, well, that could have been the first attacking round on the board, but instead, 9Z able to bring that home. So, basement it is then. No Goyo in play, which is often quite default here, but we do see the Tachanka, we do see the smoke. That will both still be able to provide plenty of stall for the actual push to come through. So that is something to pay attention to. Now, how does that get solved? Occasionally, you see a push for the red hallway happen. Otherwise, someone to come down the main stairs, put a pressure elsewhere, making sure that CCTV is not fully safe for Scarps to play in.
Of course, we never quite got into a discussion at the start there, just because of the way that the lobby was forming. But the bans, top of your screen, Clash and Echo on the defensive side. We've seen quite a lot of Echo over the last weekend. So, I think it's a pretty big ban here on Bank. Montaigne and Grim on the attacking side. One of the shield operators got banned away, and another one in the hands of Arthur. Blackbeard on the board this time. You've also got Angels with the Deimos. He's already inside the server, trying to look right down the middle of the site, see if he can catch someone potentially not paying attention there. But they will be aware of his position and his presence on that side of the map.
I actually like this early pressure to come through because it stops the defenders from being able to just rotate around freely. And then, you know, these kind of things as well. Scarp still working on a setup so he can line up his Shimikas properly. He's going to take a little bit of damage. So Angels being around is going to deal quite a bit of damage. It's also going to cause quite a bunch of problems for the defense early on, which just gives the attackers upstairs a little bit more time and actually just shepherding out these players, getting them back to side, work on their preparation, because the focus needs to be on the side itself now. And again, those defenders not having free reign to just walk wherever they want to because of that pressure that's coming in from servers.
Still here, Angels. Still making a nuisance of himself. Not able to do all that much as of yet. The rest of his team getting in place of course, just to try and build that pressure on those hatches. You've got Arthur coming in support as well for open area. Looks like Legacy moving round to the other side. Now the focus point is that server side. Down the blue staircase they do march. Angels has managed to get far enough into sight, just sneaking in to continue to go through, and he will catch one for his trouble. Pano is one that falls on the up angle here. Scarp's trying to get a look down to see if anyone's going to go in for a diffuser. C4 over the top. It will find a kill at the very least as Angels falls, and now it's 4 versus 4. I'll pause for just a second before the rest of this attack goes. You can see that Candela's in hand at the backside here from Raps, ready to drop down half.
I mean, Angels already did his job right, caused a bunch of issues, killed the smoke as the plant in the meantime is going through. The Candelas are a bit of a distraction to come through. The Shumikas will not connect either. That shield is up and running. 40 seconds counting in favor of INTZ, with only one defender left. It's Nitro on the Fenrir having to clutch out. There's one up above. There's one on the staircase. He doesn't get further than that. INTZ win round number 2, and well, if you ask me, it should have been 2-0 for them right now, but this is a wonderful attack on the basement, very well thought through. And again, I like that early pressure we saw from Angels, where he just managed to take control of servers, started to put up that pressure onto the defenders early on, so they weren't able to just freely roam around, walk around, and just set up what they needed to do.
There's a bit of a strange hold on the defense there. There was just a few times I was like, huh? There's There's a guy here. Just Angel's just wandering in. No one really aware of what's happening around them. I'm not going to attempt to go back there, of course, just move through the motions. It's very rare. You know, the amount of Siege I've been watching for the last few weeks, it's incredibly rare, I think, now for teams to go back to the same site, actually. I think on the games I've casted, I think maybe only 1 or 2 round swans went back to the same site.
We had one yesterday.
Which one? Jog my memory. Which one was it?
I don't know which map it was, but I do remember that we had to run it back on one of the sites.
5 seconds left.
Trust me. 100% sure.
I do trust you, don't worry. I trust you.
But no, it is always the question, right? Like, the only reason to rerun a site straight away often is if you know a glaring mistake that you committed, or you know what the strength was of the attacking team that caused their victory. And what we see now is, actually, we're not on the same site. We've been lied to. It's open area. I thought we were getting back to the same site. But a completely different lineup, by the way. And as the Goyos are now being brought out, of course, they were lacking on the actual basement attack. I think that could have been helpful there. Quick breach coming through from the Selmas here. Actually going to be shot out, partially or fully? Yeah, partially. So only one of them was not visible by the smoke grenade. That one's going to go off. That's a great grenade! Dealing quite a lot of damage towards the Warden here. It's going to be quite stuck. A second grenade might be tossed through. They know that there's someone is here. Nitro is being tossed out. It's not going to be connecting anything, but he will be allowed to leave. So at least escapes with his life, but it will be low for the remainder of this round.
Kind of no right to get out of that situation. Managing to still be up there. Bastion can still cause a ruckus up there. Goyle canisters now being ejected from the site, courtesy of the Twitch drones. Nitro trying to retake some ground at the top there, but decides to peel back for the time being, just absorbing some of the pressure at the top of that square staircase. You can see the drones as well, still continuing to come through. Repel being held on the other side from Legacy.
Timing.
Catching on, rotating. Oh, almost. Scarps almost gets caught, but he's still here, still in the round. As is Nitro on the top here. Legacy though, they'll just stay out in the Repel for now.
Legacy went off at the worst timing possible if he wanted to pick up that kill onto the Mozzie D. Keepers are still being tossed in to provide some extra support. Bastion, the first one to drop. Angels will find him. A double coming in, but a trade as well. So an effective 3-on-3. We have one. Still, actually, no. Legacy is no longer on the Repel. There is the Blitz Shield, though. Arthur, quite low on HP. Needs support from his teammates. Not coming in, though. As Tuku comes up the main stairs, will find that kill. Brings us into a 3v2 advantageous position here for 9Z, but the trades continue to go onwards. 50 seconds now as fallbacks start to come through. Scarp still hiding in the teller's office right behind one of the cabinets, is hoping someone will be running right past him. It's not going to be the case, though, as the diffuser has been recovered. The boogies are continuing to open up the floor, and that means we will most likely see a hatch drop plant attempt to come through. If it isn't for SDK just jumping over, so instead going for Printer.
Moving around to the other side just to try something different. 20 seconds though, really starting to get down to crunch time within this round, and they don't have the information that they desire, which is the positions of the defenders. They at least know where Scarps is, but where is Tuku? And I think they'll know enough information from the other side. Yeah, they do. Tuku's fall. Oh my word, what's happening here? 7 seconds, a drop at the same time, and they just explode onto the site. INTZ clean up shop and connect another attacking round here on Bank.
Great stuff there. It was a bit more scrappy as we were, of course, fighting over that top floor for quite a long time. We had trades happening left, right, and center, but eventually realizing what these last two players are, getting for a great wall bang as well, taking out Tuku, who was trying to hide his presence on the site. Of course, a drone earlier finding out where Scarps was as well, so well done with those flashbangs, really neutralizing his possibilities of hitting big. And as the Ying gets removed, the Izami gets removed as well. We're headed back towards that top floor, and we are seeing a pretty basic lineup coming out here. Solid Snake being hovered, but of course we've not really seen him play too often. Gets selected quite a bit, but it's mostly because it's their most played operator in the season. It's not actually played for the competitive matches as much.
Yeah, it's not been played a lot. Can count on one hand probably how many times we've seen Solid Snake this weekend, really. Just not really finding a groove in the competitive side. Does have his use cases though, and I think that that's reasonably strong on the more casual side of the gaming sphere, but people just prefer to take the Deimos. Deimos is just a better version, you know? You're just going to get guaranteed live info, and you also get a wild gun to go and take a gunfight with, you know? The F2 is a good gun, but not everyone can get to grips with it.
Could even make an argument for Jackal.
Yeah. I am a C7E enjoyer, though. I do love that AR. It's one of my favourite. It's probably my favourite gun in the game, actually, that Jackal has.
That's a unique sound as well.
Yeah,
it's a bit more like, I don't know how to explain it, but verbs-less, or like reverbs-less, or something like that. Yeah. Anyway, talking about gun sounds. This is, of course, 1-2 for INTC. Again, I think they should have won that very first round, but they decided to go for kills rather than trying to get the diffuser down, because the diffuser was dropped with about 2 minutes left on the clock. Didn't pick it up, went for kills instead. Cost them there dearly in a 1v2 clutch situation. So, well, they have learned from their mistakes. At least it's already a very decent start from them, finding those 2 attacking rounds this early on bank. Especially with the knowledge that 9Z was unable to win a single attacking round yesterday on their match on bank.
Yeah, really did struggle last night, and INTV looking pretty good so far.
Oh, why are you doing it this way? They've changed that. Raps. They've changed it. Okay, now, well, I mean, it used to be better to do it this way. That's correct. But now you can actually just hit the impact on the middle of them, take out both of them for 30 seconds, because it used to be that if you EMP'd them, they only be off for like 5 to 10 seconds. They've changed that now. And Suku gets the very first kill. Is able to strike. Arthur taking quite a bit of damage as it just peeks the corner as well, but he has these smoke grenades. Raps ready on the window as well. He's going to probably send some fire next to that mirror window to stop Nitro from playing around that mirror window, to stop him from using a Nitro cell. Actually, both fires been sent out. Yeah, damage coming through. Nitro, he's slowly losing his life, but he's forced to go prone right underneath. Somehow doesn't take any damage there. I'm not quite sure what angle he's found.
Outrageous. Absolutely outrageous that he's still alive. Panel's tried to come in to provide a bit of support, and is unfortunately on the receiving end of a Deimos track. Arthur's now attempting to get the plant, and in the midst of all that smoke, there was a Nitro over the top from Nitro. We won't find anything. Now we're live post-plant. Legacy's going to get Bastion for free. He doesn't realise that he's in that position inside open area. Can't quite get his second dose. Scarps is there to get the immediate refrag, and now it's 2 attackers with 30 seconds on the clock. They can get the covering angles on the repel. He'll find one as Nitro wades into his crosshairs and falls. They will wait and see if they can catch something, see if they can see someone going for the counter defuse. One's moved through and killed off one of the players on the repel, and that's the second gone. Tuku with the reposition into lobby. Beautifully done, and the counter defuse does come through as well.
Yeah, the only option for the defense to win there was to have someone ready in lobby, or to have someone jump out of the window and do their best. But of course, the window jump outs have been nerfed quite a bit, considering you cannot really ADS anymore doing that. So this is why you're seeing less and less of them on bank, and those plants become more and more strong. But you know, if you're unable to hold onto lobby in that case, you get these situations. So well done, well retaken by 9Z. That plant's going down. I mean, the Nitro cell was still stabbed, but it's tossed on the breach. So that completely missed the opportunity there of picking it up. Great 2-man retake of that first floor from 9Z. He was able to get rid of that Deimos, because of course Deimos' next opportunity was to go towards that lobby and make sure no one was going to be able to harass his teammates. So well done, 2-2, meaning we are close to an even split here.
Yeah.
So go back towards that basement site. See Yana being picked out. That's a while ago since I've seen that operator. Oh, never mind. Okay, I was gonna say, like, I was almost excited there.
No,
the Goyer this time being brought out though, and I think that is a good choice, a good change of pace compared to the first round that they were defending this basement. They were, of course, instantly put under pressure by Angels, who just found himself in the middle of servers, putting up that pressure. And because of that, Tachanka unable to really do what they needed to do. The Smoke really unable to do what they needed to do. At some point, he was able to just sneak into the side and kill Smoke freely.
Yeah.
So just having this extra bit of denial at the ready is going to be helpful for them. Also, actually, Tachanka not in position is going to be playing it off-site for now, on the roam. Could be a necessary risk here.
Yep, just trying to do something a bit different here after what was a pretty lackluster hold the last time. Scarps in the elevators on the ground floor. Or first floor, depending on where you live in the world. Angels now with the death mark onto the Mozzie of Bastion. He can spot them, but not really much you can do with that. Too far away. Be able to
2 floors down.
Yep.
Nitro taking lots of damage there through the wall from SDK. They're aware of someone being around in the elevator as well. I mean, you have 2 grenades. The Shumikas are coming out. It's just to try and keep them at bay. There's actually a player coming around from the other corner as well. Good fallback just in time before Angels was able to strike the iron. And with that, top floor and first floor now under control of the attackers with 1:30 left. That is plenty of time. The Twitch being around as well has 2 shock drones to get rid of the Goyo canisters, the Vulcan canisters. It's exactly what he's going to be doing. Going to just jump in. It's going to take out that fire. What that will do as well, actually, first one gets denied, but I was going to say what that does as well is the person on the blue stairs is going to be isolated. The smoke is going to be unable to fall back as soon as that fire pops. So they actually want to pop that as soon as possible, so they have the opportunity to just lock it out. They have one of them jumping in, trying to find a second, not quite there. Also no one in server, so it's just a person inside of blue that they need to get rid of.
Yeah. But they're not going to be too bothered. They're wasting so much time. Tuku, yes, he's absorbing a lot of pressure from behind, but look how much value he gets. Even gets a team kill as well. So well played. He's got it down to 40 seconds, and you've got all of these Shamika launchers to stall as much time as possible and really run down that clock. The last 30 seconds approaches. Nitro's HP isn't great. Bastion's about half, and those knees now starting to send through towards that red side. Well, one tap into the skull of Pano. SDK just knew where to check. A little bit windy at the middle staircase though as Bastion tried to make something happen up that. And Angels will be happy with that free kill. Nitro tries to move through, but it looks as though INTZ are going to sweep through the middle of this site, get the diffuser down, and it's left Scarps with it all to do in a post plant. Really difficult to try and pull this back. He has got one. Tries to find more, but it's going to be so hard. Step in there from Raps, and I think they'll start to behave themselves a little bit more. Don't want to take too much gunfights. Scarps decides to go up for the rotate, see if he can see anyone up on the top floor. There was for a moment one in the office, and they are still in there, so you can use the flames to try and weed them out and get them to move. This could actually be really well done. He manages to isolate a gunfight, but forgets to check down through the hatch, and STK will lash the shots up through. And INTZ, they make another great attack here.
Yeah, again, a great attack to come through from them. Realized exactly what they needed to do. Isolated the player on the blue stairs there by putting out the fire on the side itself. Hatch drop coming through from servers together with the Blackbeard, of course, pushing in from the top of blue stairs. Unfortunate that that team kill happened in that way, but the most important thing there was to get rid of that smoke. If you lose a player to that, that is totally fine, as long as you get that job done. That's exactly what they did. And the only reason he got team kills was because he went down instantly, like, as the smoke got killed. So that bullet confirming the kill on his teammate. Well done afterwards, though. Instantly putting up the pressure towards the side on many different positions, stopping them from even being able to properly get their Shumikas onto the side itself. And I love that masterful play as well. The Shumiko was smart, trying to relocate that player, force them back or burn them. But because he fired that, they knew he was coming in from that direction, so he could play the bomb chassis, holding up through the hatch, protecting his teammate and making sure he wasn't going to fall on his watch. So 3 attacking rounds here for INTZ. 9Z were able to get 3 defensive rounds last night on Bank. They did it in the first couple rounds of that map as well. They need to get 1 more to even that. The big worry here is their attack, because they were unable to find a single attacking round last night on Bank in the 4 opportunities they've had. INTZ, they have looked wonderful on their attacks. There's nothing I can say about that. Like, yes, they are, like, the score looks quite close, but INTZ is definitely the ones in the driver's seat here.
100% agree. They look comfortable at times, and I think 9Z are lucky to kind of be holding on here. But they won't care right now. You know, sure, the score's close. That's enough. That's all that matters at the end of the day. And if they do get onto the attack and they can play reasonably well, there's no way they can.
But that's the worry.
There's a way
you have to play reasonably well because they weren't able to get any attacks out yesterday.
Listen, I'm trying to be the hopeful commentator here.
Oh, sorry,
right?
sorry. I'm the pessimistic one, I see.
Yes.
I'm the realist.
The top of the blue staircase now for Angels as he peers into the site, trying to get some early aggression. You've got the Solace there. We'll know that position is being held. There is pressure building as well. Scarps gets caught just for a second as he's trying to support from Archives, trying to make sure that wall doesn't get opened up and can be contested free of use.
Yeah, I just like that they're not just throwing those Selmas on there and forgetting about them, which is often what's happening with teams, right? Like, they're placing them, but they're also having someone watch for it. They know where the challenge is coming in from those Selmas, and they're making sure that they watch it. Scarp's taking quite a bit of damage there. Will eventually find a kill into Arthur, though, from those Archives, so that is a huge pick from him. I was going to say, because at this point, INTZ have definitely got the better end of the deal, finding the opening in the wall, dealing that damage to Scarps, but he just turns it around quickly with a single shot from his rifle, taking out that glass. He's also no longer having to worry about the potential of a smoke ruining your day. There's Nitro up above, phone call coming out again. They should be aware we have one to repel, but the push is not quite coming in yet. He gets a ping, though. And as he is on his way out, he will be hunted down. We have one on Spiral, one on the soda hallway, one on the window. There was no escaping.
Yeah, absolutely no way of getting out of that. And now they can steal those cams as well. STK bringing along the decay bay, and they know that they have to get rid of that as well. Nade's coming down through the hatch. It's a bit of an issue as Rams can send those boogie devices through to tear up the floor and get some of that vertical started. Start looking down through in between the beams and see if they can spot anyone. There is only 20 seconds here, so it's actually INTZ need to get a move on a little bit. See them just pushing back into the corner here. Pano is still there. A hop in the window on the other side. Angels has found Tuku trying to make a move on the other side. It's 3 versus 2, but STK moving down the main staircase is left to Scarps in a 1v2. They're attempting to go for the diffuser. It's actually technically a 1v1. Scarp's not quite aware that they're actually going to go for it. They've managed to stick it down. Scarps is now stuck inside the small admin office. He's trying to swing out, trying to find a gunfight. He will find it and he won't win it. STK on the cover. INTZ, these attacks are just looking so clean.
I have to give more credit to SDK than just the kill you saw happen here, because what happened was Scarbs took the fight towards the kitchen door, managed to find a kill. At that moment, there was fire going down in the double door near the beepers to open area. What SDK did, he tanked that damage. He just ran through to get into the position to hold that door, because he knew that if Scarbs was allowed to get out, he could potentially mess with that diffuser plan to go through. So he sacrificed some of his own HP just to be in a position to be able to cover rather than, you know, letting it come down to it. And that's selfless behavior there to try and find that kill. Often people are like, oh no, I cannot move, I'm too low already, like I'll die by the fire. But like, even if he died, at least he would have tried in that moment in time to make sure that he's ready to be there for the cover, and he was in the end. So well done to him. 4 rounds for INTZ though. That is the big part, the big story of the first half of this game. And again, we'll be referring to the bank match we've seen yesterday, where 9Z was unable to win any attacking round in the 4 rounds they've played. Luckily for them, actually no, it's not luckily for them, they might only get to play 3 this time, so they will be forced to win attacking rounds if they want to elongate this match.
They picked this map as well, so some questions have to be asked if they can't get something going on it. The thing is though, is that 9Z have already beat INTZ twice, so there is that. So,
yeah, but the pressure, Jam.
Yeah.
It's a different matchup. No, but like it is, because this is a qualifying matchup that we're seeing right now. And if INTZ is able to take this very first map in a 7-2 blowout, after the last series these two played, there was only 7 rounds that could have been played more if you wanted to go full 45. That 7-2 is already 5 rounds. No, even more. That is already 10 rounds away from the 45 that we could be getting in potential. So that will be a massive blow compared to the previous results of these two.
We're testing everybody's maths there, Hap. Keeping everybody locked in on the mathematical statistics of Siege best of 3s. Repels here now for Tuku on the other side of the lobby. Hopping on the drones, hopping on the camps, getting some information. Scarps is aware there's someone at the top of the blue staircase. Also know that there's one in the elevator as well, which is Arthur on the smoke. Tried this last time. Wasn't quite as successful. More Ella action as well, which we've seen quite a lot of in the last few weeks. Fuse in the hands of Pano as well, though, Hap.
Loading new mag.
Again, I'm not a big enemy to Fuse on this side, especially because often we are going to have the Goyo pockets around. The Vulcan canisters is again going to be the case. Having that fuse is a surefire way to get... I don't need to... Okay. Yeah, well, it's fine. It's fine. I'm not going to finish my story in that case. INTZ are like, when you have a fuse, we will take him out. So you are now going to be struggling with all those Goyo canisters. They have one grenade left to try and deal with them. Did he get killed by barbed wire?
Yeah. That's been a long time since I've seen that happen. Unfortunate for him. I don't think that's what actually finished him off, though. I think it was just the HP that he was lacking. 4 versus 3 now, and this is about the best attempt that 9Z have. On attack, I'm trying to do something that's not looking too great, but they've got something working here. Up, they're getting. They've still got utility available to them.
Yes, but look at the time. It's 50 seconds. And then, okay, 50 seconds, still plenty of time. 3 smoke canisters on the opposing side. That's 45 seconds of stall. Arthur's currently holding on to the elevator. If they decide to drop there, you're just going to be stuck for the rest of the round. Like, there's no exiting of that area. If they do decide to go for the main plant, which is seeming to be their chance, considering the fact that Scarbs is setting himself up. And, they know someone's out here. He's just going to run on the back of that fire. Why are you going deeper into the side? You should have gone servers, but he manages to stay alive and go all the way back towards the doorway. Scarbs giving away his position on top will at least find the kill into Raps. That's going to be a big kill to come through. The smoke will stop the player on the main stairs from actually progressing properly. Smokes are being sent out as well right now. They need to try and get this plan going, but it's only Scarbs in a 1v3 situation. Gets one on the drop, but 4 seconds. Needs to go for the plant or the kills. Will get neither. Arthur shuts him down. INTZ win their first offensive round.
Just got off to a pretty unfortunate start to that round. Lost a few players early on that you wouldn't have wanted to. We were talking about the fuse there. That's exactly what they needed for those, flushing out quite a bit of that utility and destroying it, but just didn't really get going. No surprise to see the timeout come through, Hab. Not really.
Things have not really been going their way.
Yeah. What do you think of the discussions then?
What do we do? What do we need to do better?
Yeah,
I think it comes down to that. Like, it's just not connecting. It's just not working. And they will also know that yesterday they struggled on this map, and they want to do better because losing this first map like this. I mean, it's fine to lose a map, but if it is quite literally a qualification point that's on the line, right?
Yeah.
And you've given away the first map in a very clean fashion, I don't think they'll be happy with that. I don't think anybody will be happy with that. So they need to try and salvage whatever is possible. And I'm not expecting them to just completely win the game now because they've had a tactical timeout. That's not what I'm asking. But what we do want to see is a little bit of an extra response from them, a couple of extra rounds, bring it closer, make this an actual matchup. If you lose it then, it's fine, but at least you have given it a close matchup, and it's not just a blowout.
Hiding the castle. I do respect it, because hiding the castle does also mean that he's going to have to throw out 4 of those panels lightning quick before someone gets on a rappel and shears his head from its shoulders. I like the idea of it. And, we talked about tactical timeout for a second there. If you want a little bit of, like, I guess support for and Hopium, let's go. I'll just say that. I'll just say I have. That's what it is. But Imperial yesterday, they were a couple of rounds down versus 9Z on this map. They took a tactical timeout, and then they were basically undefeatable after it. So
it can happen. I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm just saying I'm not expecting them to suddenly just win everything because of a tactical timeout. But what I do want to see is just that little bit more of a fight coming out from them.
Yeah. We'll see now. First 30 seconds already gone after that timeout, and Scarps is not mincing about. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to send it right through the middle of the map. I know I'm safe. I know I can start running around. Start going on a hunt for these players from down below. Really nice, though, that you've got STK standing on the Kiba barricade to make sure that you can be safe for any of those bullets coming through from the Deimos downstairs. An upside down rappel here, very, very close to being spotted. STK standing in this corner. Will be the one in charge of holding on to that. There you go. This is exactly what I was highlighting there, Hap. They know that the Kiba barricade, he just spots a heal for a second. He's got a nade. He can thread this up, actually. This is actually going to be really nicely done.
Does he get that notification?
I think he is. He's going to go. He's managed to move out to the other corner. How has he done this?
Why are they not watching it? Like, they know he's out there, and that's the kill to come through into Scarves. That is a bit of a mistake to come through. SDK somehow survives, gets a kill as well. That's the diffuser to drop down on the ground. This man should have been dead a minute ago. He's still being spotted by the bees. They know exactly where he was. The moment that grenade came out, there should have been 2 people on that window watching him to run away to have a free kill. Flashbangs now coming through. A nitro cell that's just been shut out. Another airdrop to be used to blast him backwards, but what are you going to do? Because he's still stuck in this corner. You needed to get him out of that corner, and that's not something they're doing. They're going off the rappel now, recovering that diffuser. They've realized that this is a no man's land. They're not going to be able to pass through, and they just have to choose a new site to go for. He decided to go. I mean, fair enough. He lived for long enough there. He did everything he needed to do. Yeah. He decided to go for a bit of a fun game afterwards, but he gets punished for it. Let's hope that that doesn't cost his team that round.
Yeah, he kind of deserved that. He deserved a little chance to go for that after what was a heroic performance for that first half of the round, but there is a slightly pressing issue here for 9Z as they try to take the top part of this square staircase, but it's going to be very difficult to do it because nothing's open, nothing's set up for them to go. They're going to have to just force it, try and find gunfights, try and see if INTZ are going to overstep for a second, but here's the smoke babes to get it all the way down. That'll get down to nearly 5 seconds left in the round to push in towards Janitor. So it's going to be very, very difficult, and he's just going to hold. Angels is there for a swing it onto Tuku at the same time. Bastion gets at least 1 back, but there's only 4 seconds. Nitro's trying to swing in. Bastion has a diffuser, not in a position to get it down, and INTZ, they make a clean go of it on that defense. That was a fantastic round from them.
It definitely was, but, you know, that all started with the Isabi. And I'm just going to say this, Cham. You've just had a technical timeout. You've just discussed what you need to do, how things need to go better.
Yeah.
Then you have SDK stuck in a corner. He's down on low HP. You know exactly where he is. You have 2 men on the rappel, 1 down below. The men below throws up the grenade, and what are the 2 on the rappel doing? There's not there. And he's able to just freely get into a corner. He's being spotted by bees. They know exactly where he is, but that doesn't matter because he is already safe in the corner. That point of Deimos is taken out as well. Like, he cannot do anything anymore. He gave away his game, and he tried to make sure that they managed to secure that kill on SDK. And all I'm saying is that that is just a triggering experience on the team where 3 of you are trying to get rid of that one person. 4 of you, actually. He managed to get a kill on the back of it, and then the moment that you give up, he jumps after you as a bit of a taunt, like, hey, I'm still here in these windows. Yeah. You failed to get me.
Overall, not the greatest attempt there, 10 seconds remaining. But I don't think they're going to get much more attempts on Bank because we're now standing at 6-2. INTZ making very, very comfortable work so far on this map.
Swapping mags!
Could be seeing Chalet quicker than we would like. 9Z, you really need to go back to the drawing board at quite a few of these rounds and try and just figure out something because the game is starting to get away from them. Or, well, it's not even started to, it has got away from them.
This map is no longer in control. It is spiraling out of control. Yeah. Even INTZ is currently unable to be contained by themselves, considering SDK jumped out that window. So it is rough for them right now and on what they need to do. A lot of work to be done, yes. Do they win this map? I don't think so. I think full focus needs to go towards map number 2 at this point.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. Denari set up here inside his stock as well. INTZ not resting, not giving them an inch, still stacking the utility, still making them work for this. With the IQ outside from Bastion calling out different portions of utility in different areas of the map that are being held here. They're not getting a foothold in the building early enough. Full minute already gone, and they haven't really decided where they want to go from. You can see that Scarps is showing face over stockwise, and then he's moving around. Nitro eventually enters at the top of the square staircase. They have to get work on this janitor area just for now. The Denari will at least slow down Scarps' push. They do manage to weed out the player inside of janitor, so they can get push through that position on the top floor. Now they can begin to do some of the vertical work here, Hap.
Yeah, but that's a minute 40 wasted on that top floor right now. They're starting to take control of it. They still need to physically check everything. Now they're going to have the call that is going to be cleared out. Those Daenerys are being splitted out by the IQ. They can get rid of those, of course, no problem whatsoever. What the Blitz doesn't know is that whilst he's on half HP, there's 4 people close around, and that smoke canister is just buying an opportunity for SDK to move back up. Is he going to be able to get this kill? No, it'll be shut down. But this is the cheekiness that you're getting at this very moment in time. This is how confident INTZ is feeling in their game, that they're just trying to retake to the top floor. 50 seconds now. Still quite a bit of time for the attack to try and improve and approach something. As Pano keeps being zapped by the Daenerys. Hasn't been able to take them out. Taking quite a bit of damage as Raps takes him out. Scarps takes a little bit more damage. This match could be over very quickly here as they're stuck inside of Archives.
It absolutely could. Arthur being the architect on Azami, making sure to cover off as much as possible. A C4 threaded through the rotate. It won't find anything. Nitro's gun, though, will find Arthur. Will shut down the Azami. There's a chance here for 9Z. Try and string together their first attack here. And it looks like they could potentially be about to do it because there's only one player. They need to get the time. The time's going to be one here. Oh my word, it's so close. 9Z just about get it done. And they stay on bank. But that was way too close for comfort.
That was indeed way too close for comfort. That almost would have been the end of this map. And maybe a little bit of the cheekiness of SDK there, you know, like he could have been more useful staying alive there rather than retaking it, using those smoke canisters a little bit later, because the entire push was revolving around that main stairs hold. That was all they were trying to go around. And as the Blitz now gets banned, so does the Azami. And then this is the kill, like what I'm talking about. Like, he tried to go a bit cheeky. He was a bit brutal out there, trying to make sure that he was able to get that top floor, but was taken out as a result. And I mean, the crossfires here working in favor of the attackers, and Los Angeles was able to find one. The prone shot wasn't able to find that final connection before hitting the deck. Back towards the basement we go, and looking at the defense, the smoke, of course, there clearly as a defensive measure. We see the Razor Blooms coming in from the Thorn as well. Have, of course, been seeing quite an increase in Thorn ever since the, small balance patches came out for the Razor Bloom. Larger radius, quicker detonation time, etc. And, of course, the Echo to come through, which, if you're struggling with time, I can fully understand that you are going to bring that out to abuse that even more for 9Z.
5 seconds left.
Absolutely. I wasn't surprised at the Azami going away as well. Been a nuisance for them so far. Middle floor spread for the operators here. Legacy up there. SDK was also getting in on the action in the middle floor. Angels on the top. So definitely bringing the fight there at INTZ. They definitely want to show quite a bit of a roam. You've got an active drone as well from Arthur, just moving the yokais around to give information to his roamers and make sure that they have the sauce to react upon. Scarps now makes his first entry into the building at the top of the square staircase and knows that there's one lingering around main stairs. Drone going immediately ahead though. He's going to go as far as what he potentially needs it. Hopefully they're aware of Angels' position because they're all starting to queue up here and it will be a shield on the other side. They'll spot a foot for just a second and Angels is like, yeah, I don't really want to challenge that right now. I'll step back. They have control of stock and they can open up that hatch to begin looking down into the middle of this map.
Slowly but steadily. The time ticking down, pressure starting to rise, but defense still holding on quite heftily onto that middle floor. There's still 3 players around that are holding on for dear life. The fuse charger's starting to go down one floor. Of course, that is not going to be the eventual point of arrival for these teams. They need to go down towards that basement. Oh, good shot from Tuku out there, taking out one player.
Wow.
Scarp's able to find another before STK strikes back, so it is now a 3v4 situation. Rap still aggressive though, near the top of blue. The beepers occasionally go off as a lot of damage done. Pano gets dropped. The trades are out there. They've dropped through the main hatch. They've dropped through the main stairs, and they are trying to get the plan down. However, STK is too quick. Goes to the pistol. Isn't able to get the kill, and Bastion will be able to find Raps. 9Z able to take a second round on the board. They decided to go for a quick push right after they realized the site was empty. At that point, the defenders had to flood back in.
Closes the gap. 2 rounds now between them and equalising and sending this to overtime. INTZ just can't get it across the line. Really, really well played on these attacks and bank. We're seeing some really, really clean ways of taking this. 9Z just should decide, you know what, we're just going to send it in. Like you said. See, they spot a gap, they just go for it. Play really well, get a couple of big kills, and or INTZ and specifically STK maybe start to think about, maybe I shouldn't extend as much, maybe I shouldn't over peak as much. Get cheeky with it. Maybe this time though. Maybe settle in. Top 4 hold is where we're heading. No Mira as well, so you won't get your janitor hold this time, Hap.
Aww.
That's
okay though. That's okay. It doesn't have to be there every single time.
Does not. Bandit and 2-barrel combination as well. Last time we were up here, we've of course seen the keeper barricades, how big they were, so Zami being off the board has changed the way that they're playing this. STK got away with absolute robbery the last time, so can't imagine we'll see that happen again. Especially given that 9Z are starting to grow into this fixture a bit more, starting to get to grips with it, starting to chain some rounds together and start to feel himself a bit more confidently. STK though, he's been confident the entire matchup, no matter what. 14-6. Heaviest hitter of the lobby so far.
It's definitely been doing great work so far. INTZ still a round away from taking this first map into that pockets though. And again, I said in the first round, that probably should have been theirs when we were headed towards, 2 rounds ago. That probably should have gone their way as well, but both of them 9Z managed to take control of. And that means that they're now 2 rounds away from equalizing the scoreline and pushing us towards an overtime situation. They've already done better than what they did last night on Bank. And as the pressure now starting to rise, again, the timer starting to tick, and first minute has passed. The Angels watching over that top floor, hoping to catch someone that is just a little bit too eager on the top of square. And Scarps holding a nice long angle from outside the building through an opening that was made earlier by the Selmas. Of course, no one in stock to try and hold that off. SDK looking to go quite aggressive, sending some shots with the 50 cal M4. Trying to get that one player on the rappel as Arthur retaking Janitor. Again, such a crucial position. You don't need to have the mirror for it, but understandably that they want to play it either way. It's just out there to stop, I believe, any heart breach from connecting on the Janitor wall. But a minute left, Jam, and the push needs to start happening soon.
It does indeed. Slightly different pace to this round than the last time. Of course, we've seen the last round was finished by the time we even got to the final minute. This time it's a lot slower from 9Z. Stalling out here. INTZ will be happy with that. Quite a few players out on that rappel. Directly onto CEO. Angel's still at the top of the main staircase. Rap still holding on to front desk. Still got Tuku out also on the lobby rappel. It's really starting to get to tight on the time. INTZ are just waiting. They're just kind of goading them into it. Like, you make a move, guys. We're just going to stand here. We're not going to do nothing. We're not going to overpeak. We're not going to make mistakes. Bastion will claim the first victim of this round. It is STK that falls from so far back. All the way in square that came from. Bastion taking a bit of damage in that engagement. And finally, 9G get moving through the map. They try to push right into the site, but there's only 8 seconds and only 2 players left up standing here for INTZ. HP not looking good for Legacy. This could be one on time. Someone has to get that diffuser down, and it just took the round somehow ends in an absolute terror. I don't know what's just happened there.
That's, I wouldn't say complacency, but what we are seeing there is they were being picked up from the breach. I mean, that happens. Someone retakes that position. At that point, Janitor door gets swung. The smoke wasn't watching that direction. It's another free kill for the person who was on long desk retaking that position. And 9Z from there on, they have managed to find 2 kills. At that point, you can start wrapping around. You see that people are quickly rushing towards the building. However, the big worry there, of course, was the time, because there wasn't a lot left for them to work with. But they're single round away now. from equalizing the scoreline, and what seemed like it would have been a surefire 7-2 victory for INTZ is suddenly starting to turn, and the confidence is starting to grow into the players of 9Z. And that is not only like a great thing for this map, but it's also something they can carry on towards Chalet. Because if this would have ended 7-2, Sham, that would have been a massive stain on their self, like, just how they feel, their motivation, their morale. But now they're starting to fight back. They're starting to feel better, and that is dangerous when your team, your enemy team, your opposing team is able to start growing in that momentum, because that will carry across maps. So INTZ really need to shut this down now, because if this goes to overtime, who is to say that 9Z is not going to be able to just take that one home and then just waltz over Chalet?
Yeah, exactly. Especially given that they've already beat them on Chalet twice in a decider, so this will be looking really good for 9Z if they can get this to overtime. Of course, INTZ, they've just came out the back of that timeout. I imagine they've had discussions about making sure that they don't get complacent, like what you were saying. See, of course, what they can come up with the goods. Down to the bottom 4 for the defense here. We've got the Goyle canisters, Ella, Thorn, Smoke. It's all traps, it's all denial. Same story as always for bottom floor of Bank. I can bring along the IQ. A Goyle canister and Garage, I think it's the Mute that's in charge of holding on to blue this time. Some Mute jammers at the bottom, just making it a little bit more difficult to get some live information on him. So he moves up and down the steps.
I mean, it might be better to have the smoke for a rainier day when the side is actually under a bit of pressure. Because again, time and time again, the time is the issue. So putting in the smoke, the Mute there, it's the same weaponry. So the SMG-11, the shotgun, it also has a nitro cell that it can use to fend off. It's not the same quite area denial as a smoke canister, but if timed well, will still guarantee you a kill. Maybe 2. And of course, the thing is, the side is the eventual point of interest here. That is where 9Z needs to go. They are in that basement. It takes a lot of time to clear the top floor, to clear that middle floor, and then start actually approaching the side itself. So what we see, and which is what I'm going to praise, is that they're very quickly taking control of that top floor. Already starting to work on opening up verticalities, and they will start to run into these issues of the players that are still around on the roam. Angels is finding himself shut down. The angles are definitely being watched as they're trying to put the pressure onto Archives, but he will be able to pick up a kill as a result. Bastion gets shut down. Massive pick from Angels. He's still around in the Archives. He cannot leave because every single exit is being held. He needs to be careful in which ways he moves because his legs might be showing soon. But SDK looking to provide some support, looking to go onto the flank out here. He realizes someone could be around in Teller's office, but he's called back. Angels has been shut down. You cannot stick around now. Back to the site, you have to go because there's a minute left on the clock. They still need to make sure that that first floor is completely clear. That's what they're working on right now. So from here on onwards, he needs to make sure that this site is under heavy control of the defense and that every single step into it will be paid by blood.
Absolutely. SDK though, floating back into Vault for a sec to check that hatch. He knows that they're to be conscious of it because it is wide open. Speaking of hatches, the other one looking down into it.
That's massive.
The site is also being held, but there's locked out a player inside the server.
Yeah, but they don't know that, or if they do, they still need to put pressure down on him because they cannot drop this hatch. If they do, he just has a free opportunity to either retake the top or to start fighting back. And he has a nitro cell, so he could just toss that through the door and get that kill. And the reason why that is the case is because it didn't open up the square hatch. The fire's not going to do much. He's still going to be able to drop the damage down. Arthur and Raps both picking up kills, and that's just a wrap. INTC managed to take that final round on their defense and managed to make it stick. A 7-5 victory is for them, and Chalet will be the next map.
Well, we asked questions at the tail end of that map there if 9Z could come back in and get it to overtime, but INTZ, they hold their nerve and they ensure that they go onto Chalet with a win under their belt. It looked like it was going to be comfortable, it looked like it was going to be an easy win from them there, but 9Z, they made it a bit more difficult at the end. It became a bit more of a game, and I'm hoping that it continues that way on Chalet, but eventually I think the better team did win that map there in the end. But I'm excited to get to Chalet. I'm just ready to go there. They've been there before. I just want to see if they can come up with the goods again. The last time was an overtime game. I want to see more of that.
Well, that means it was close then, but let's head to a quick break before we head to Chalet to find out if we need a map 3 or if this ends quickly.
Welcome back to the SAL Challenger Series, where INTZ takes the first map. It was 9Z's map pick, and let's be fair, on that second half, it almost felt like 9Z brought it really close, maybe too close for comfort, but just in the end, Chem, it's a shame to not see this map work out in the favor of 9Z.
Yeah, they get the job done in the end, INTZ. They made it a bit more difficult than what was needed to, I think, at the end. They were looking really, really clean on their attacks, and then the defense, they just looked, you know, as Hap put it, complacent. It looked as if they were kind of inviting 9Z to kind of do something, and they did. They fought and fought and fought, but it wasn't enough ultimately at the end. They get it done, INTZ. They close it out. It's 7-5. I still think that INTZ are still going to be feeling good after that. I still think that they're going to be feeling with like keeping the momentum with them. I think it would have been a bigger shift had 9Z got that to overtime. I think that would have changed the pace completely. Going into Chalet, I still think that INTZ will be feeling comfortable. The SDK is feeling himself. You can see that it was hopping out of windows, making kind of funky decisions here and there. But sometimes you play so well that you're just like, you know what, I feel like I can try something and I can try this. I feel like I've got a bit of luck on my side. And there was a few times he was punished for it, but I think we'll see more of that in Chalet.
I mean, that kind of goes both ways, right? Like, we saw him being punished for those funky decisions twice, which indirectly led into rounds going that way. But at the same time, he's also been doing those funky decisions, but it works out and he manages to get a 1 or 2K on it, and then suddenly the round turns around. So it is that double-edged sword. Like, you'll be praised if it works out, and you'll be damned if it doesn't. And, I mean, again, he was 14 kills up, so he felt confident. He decided to just go for some of those plays. It didn't really work out. It directly led into the game getting closer and closer, but INTZ was still very much in control over the majority of those games. I think just those last 2-3 rounds, it started to slip a little bit, but it picked themselves back up in time enough.
It's kind of the same way that they played this map like it was played against 9Z yesterday, just trying to throw a spanner in the works, which really led to some time management issues, I would say, on the side of 9Z in these attacks. Some of these rounds really coming down to the final few seconds, but just managing to get them out, though. Now we're looking forward to Chalet. And as already talked, of course, these two teams have played against each other quite a lot in recent history. 9Z having the head-to-head in that matchup. They won Chalet twice as well, Jim. I think you talked about this too. They won it in regulation first, overtime afterwards. I feel like there's opportunities for both these teams here on the second map.
Yeah, they're both close games. You know, it was in regulation the first time they played, but it was 7-5, still a close game, then 8-6 for the overtime that they won it. The key difference is that it's not a decider map this time. It's actually, I mean, it's deciding, of course, whether you go to EML if you do, but what I mean by that is, like, obviously not a decider within the actual best of 3, so it's got a different pacing slightly. It's not, you know, technically all the way through for, like, do or die for, like, INTZ, so it's played a little bit differently. So I'm really not sure what to expect, because, you know, my heart's saying that it gets closed out in 2-0 because of how well INTZ were playing, but I also just feel like 9Z are just not done with the series. I don't think they're going to give up easily.
Well, it's tough to call. They've been doing well. The games have been close, so I think it really comes down to who has the best momentum getting into this. And INTZ starting on the attack, I think, is going to be a big help to them as well with how they were on the bank just now.
And given they won map 1, the momentum is definitely going to be in their favor. It's do or die for 9Z if they want to make it in the SAL. Can they bounce back? Chalet will tell us more.
Time for some more Chalet between these teams, Pap. We're getting into it. Them bands coming through. Very similar to what we've seen the last time from these teams. We've seen the Grim and the Azami band away to start with. So far, we'll see what the other two are going to be. I've seen quite a few Hardbreach bands actually from INTZ on this map, so I imagine that'll be down the pipeline later on. Ying, next one to go. And Mira as well. So no, you don't get your Mira action hap. Sorry, pal, not right now.
It's okay. I respect the architect bands to come through. I think it has a bigger impact sometimes than just the Cade Bandit. You know, like great, you'll get your wall open, but if you try, you'll get your wall open anyway. And the keepers and the mirror windows are just a little bit more tricky to deal with here and there. So fully understandable to remove those.
Gym and bedroom. Gym and bedroom? Where am I getting that from? Baron Gaming?
I don't know. There is no gym here.
Yeah,
is there a gym here?
No, there's not. There's not.
Is there any gym equipment, maybe?
That was like a slip through space and time to Clubhouse for a second there. I don't know what was happening there.
There might be something in the basement. I don't know. Like maybe there is like a single dumbbell or something.
Do you know what? I'll lean it on the fact that it is gaming. And it's the only other one that starts with G is gym, so that's maybe where that thread is. That's my excuse there, but it is indeed gaming. And bar is where we are heading for this defense. Library hold upstairs. You've got smoke up there. You've got Solace as well in the hands of Bastion. Imagine making a nuisance of himself somewhere around this map. And as Observer kindly pans to it, you can see that he is down in the basement. And that's where we'll be lurking around. Sharps has a DMR in the hands of a rune at the top of the mezzanine staircase. There's the Solace. Just moving around, trying to spy where they're potentially coming from, see if they can see anyone on drones. See what that really gives you an idea as to which direction they're going to move from at.
For now, it's just the defaults, right? Like opening up the windows, opening up the doors, trying to get that information in before the top floor will be taken. That is step number one on this basement attack. You don't want anybody to still be roaming around on that top floor when you are the ones trying to get that diffuse down on the ground. Now, it is a very heavy roam. I think there's a total of 3 players that are out and about on that top floor. The FNet and the camera will be confirming that Arthur is in the house. He has that diffuser with him, so it'd be a very valuable pick, but no one quite close to even try and think of pushing after him as he creates rotations for the drones. How much of a gentleman he is.
Yeah, that's awfully kind. That was really kind of him to do that. Bastion getting so much value from the Solace. Call out where any of these electronic devices are. There's a player on the other side of that door just outside. You can see him on the drone. So he waits at the staircase to see if he's going to peek. He'll know that there's going to be an engagement just around the corner for him. The KV devices will happen and he will react very quickly. SDK buried, but elsewhere the kill feed starts to light up as Angels and Arthur get a couple of kills of their own. Drops through the hatches as well. They tried to get out. What a shot that is. Tuco swinging onto Raps and removing his skull on the window. Now it's 3 versus 3, and for a second they're just going to take a little pause here. INTZ take a breather before they decide where they want to go from now.
It's almost quite perfect. Arthur managed to shepherd him off. They already had someone ready at the window. Tukudo was aware of it at the very final second. Turned around, managed to get that shot off. Okay, so 2 are inside, Pentry and Games themselves. We have Bastion down below. They're aware of that Solace. That is a issue. That is a spanner. So they're sending tracks in to keep them at bay for as long as possible. As Arthur is being slowed down, considering he's been hit by one of those Razor Blooms. Angel will take down Tuku. So it's now Pano in the side itself. Bastion still on the blue stairs. They're fully aware of him. They know exactly where he is. As Arthur again being hit. The shotgun from Bastion doing enough damage to take down Angel's Beast, the last man standing. Know exactly where he is. He's on those blue stairs. 15 seconds. They have diffuser. They need to try and get that plant down. And so they will. 10 seconds to try and go for the retake. He's aware of what's happening. He needs to go for the wall bang. He's not going to be able to connect that. And the diffuser is down. 45 seconds. Facing a shield and a gridlock. They now have the time to move themselves out, and Legacy shuts him down. What was a great start for 9Z with, of course, the free pick onto the lobby from the staircase. But from there onwards, INTZ, they already had that full top floor control at the ready. 2 kills to quickly succeed upon that, and then just putting the pressure onto site.
Yeah, they took a big breath there just before they plunged in that 3v3. Took a little second to just be like, okay, where do we actually want to kind of set this up and go and see if we can close it out. Their attacks were really, really good on Bank, so I wasn't really surprised to see them continue that fashion on. Solace being pretty big nuisance, like we highlighted at the start of the round. Bastion was playing pretty good on that operator. Now though, turn our attention to kitchen and dining. Clash making an appearance in the hands of Scarps. And playing with the wall open, I think, here. Directly into dining, I think. Looks like it's going for a half-open scenario. Upstairs hold as well from the Jaeger and Mute.
5 seconds remaining.
How are you feeling so far, Hap? First round in Chalet and the under belt?
I mean, we didn't see the action taking place at the top floor, but that felt like crucial information. So, of course, the Solace was a threat, managed to pick up a kill, and then managed to continue being an issue downstairs. They dealt with it well. They realized they had track stingers. They used those to make sure that they weren't able to just move up as quickly as possible. They just focused on the side afterwards. So, all I can say is that the priorities are in the right place of INTZ.
Priority this time for INTZ is to try and take library nice and quickly. That's exactly what they've done. SDK already in the building, already got firm grasp of that side of the map, and now can sweep through to the top of the mezzanine staircase, all the way up to the half wall. No one really looking there. They've got one player close by on. Now, SDK's just continue to walk through. Bastion, not really ready for the gunfight. Destroyed inside the piano, and he's going to try and take another one back here. Tuko manages to win it, slows down STK's antics, and stops him from being even more of a thorn in their side in this round.
Yeah, but already taking down Bastion that early on. I mean, it's a one-on-one trade. It's the Maverick gone, so I don't think it's the biggest loss for them in that round. There is already quite a bit of openings they can play with. Is Nitro aware of the fact someone's around on his balcony? He's calling for a potential push to come through, but you can already see Legacy is around in that part of the building. They are not going to be able to just run up, open up the highway window, and try and get a shot off like that. The Nitrocell from panel being approached. Oh no, he's in already. The Nitrocell will at least kill one off, but Raps manages to find that kill. Scarf's going quite low. The grenade might actually finish the job. No, it's Angels from right behind him. The site being flooded as we speak, but it's only up to Arthur. In 1 HP and a dream, he's put a shield on his back. The last man is up above. The drop comes in. He's heard that. He gets the pickup done onto Raps, and now they know that Tuku is in sight. He was the one that took out STK before. The grenade will force him out of his position. They know roughly where he is. There is a minute left, but they don't need it. Arthur shuts him down. What a round from him on that Blackbeard, leading the charge. Is enough for 3 kills, taking out the Clash, the Nitrocell thrower, and then the Jaeger in the end. Well done by INTZ, and another great attacking round, really continuing on the momentum they've been building on Bank before it shortly fell away.
Yeah, absolutely. Really got to commend them on how clean these attacks have been looking. Sweep through that top floor. I do think that there was a little bit of a gap left there from 9Z. They were playing with that wall half open in an office, and then STK just goes, you know what, I'm going to walk up here and just see if anyone's going to be playing around it. Didn't seem like there was anyone really paying attention to him. He got himself a free kill, and from there, started to snowball a bit. Balance in the middle from 9Z, but ultimately it did feel like it was going to be an INTZ round from the start all the way through to the finish. Now header up to the top floor. More Solace action, this time in the hands of Nitro Hap.
Again, the Solace has been quite useful in these last couple of days across the many different leagues, so it is fully understandable it is being used, especially on a map like this. There's tons of soft flooring on the side itself, so having that Solace in the late round, having it the floor below, can just buy you a round win. Save an impact, wait for the diffuser to be planted, use that impact, or just straight up start firing with that P90. You might find yourself the round win in the end. It's a bit more active than the Echo, of course, is. Like, Echo not being on the board right now, but like, it functions the same. You want to make sure that you isolate where that plant's coming from and then deny it, but of course Solace will actually get the kill with it.
Airship's being set up outside the bathroom window. Just make it a bit more comfy for INTZ. Deimos Tracker is also coming through. Death marked onto Nitro. A little bit of cat and mouse play though come out between the Solace and the Deimos. For now. Arthur has other plans. West Main seems to be the area of focus. Is also supported by Raps. Elsewhere, Bastion's got the opening pick as Angels falls away. That's the IQ gone.
Let's have a look.
Just trying to push him on that Ivy staircase.
Tracker active.
Now, a little change here from INTZ to go, you know what, actually, we've lost a player there. We need to kind of move players into different areas. They're still trying to force this from underneath, trying to go on the hunt, and they do get it. Beautifully done. A little set piece between the two of them. Arthur took a head ripped off its shoulders.
This is insane because they had the entry kill once more. Angels was gone. That is a direct counter to the Solace. Beautiful shot there from Pano, by the way. Afterwards, they were trying to focus on that verticality. You just have the Deimos taking him out quickly without a track even being necessary. And now they're in a 3-on-3 situation. Of course, the big focal point here for 9Z is still having that clash on the board. Could be absolutely the round changing. Can also guarantee you that's going to be the operator that will get banned next round from the side of INTZ. They will not be dealing with that clash any longer because it just slows them down too much. They have the overwhelming gunfire capacity here. That clash is a leveling tool for that position right now, and they just want to make sure that they can utilize it to the best of their abilities. But there's a minute left. They're knocking on the doors of the site. They know where one of these players is. There's no tracks, no death marks, left to actually use. And there is a clash still on the board, but utility to deal with it as well. An air jab and 2 incendiary bolts. Those will have to be used properly to get rid of them. Flashbangs coming in. Are they aware there's one underneath the piano? The creel comes through. Bastion goes big for 2. And now it's only up to Raps in a 1v3 situation with 30 seconds left. The diffuser has been downed. He's being chased and he's just running all the way through the map. They will be aware. They will hear him. They'll be waiting for him as well. And the question is, how far will he come in these next 15 seconds? They take small amounts of damage. There comes the clash. That is just going to be locking him out for the remainder of this round. He's not going to be able to progress, and Pano will shut him down. Great stuff from Bastion there, and also the clash, of course, with the stall to come through. Those two operators really doing the work for this round.
Yeah, really, really good stuff from 9Z there this time. And we'll see just right now if your premonition is correct that Clash will be banned away. I think that after the end of that round, I wouldn't be surprised if that is. I think you could be onto something. There you go.
Blackbeard's also fully understandable.
Yeah, exactly. 2 very valid bans that will change the course of the rest of this half. 2-1 now for INTZ after 9Z managed to get themselves their first round on the defense here on Chalet, and they return to Baron Gaming, not Gym and Bedroom, like that silly Scottish caster said earlier.
Hey, we still don't know if there's any gym equipment. We haven't seen the full map, so... There must be a dumbbell hidden somewhere.
A Chalet in the mountains probably has one somewhere. Hey ho, Bastion back on the Solace. Did some excellent work the last time. Ultimately, it wasn't enough to get themselves a round win, but we'll bring it back nonetheless. Focus on holding on Library on the top as well.
10 seconds remaining.
No Jaeger or Wamai or anything like that, really, to hold on to that. So, maybe surprised if this is more of a mezzanine hold. Extending out to office for now. With Scarps on the Fenrir, just dotting some of those F-nats around the place. Bastion on the other side of Trophy for now. More traps getting put out. Thorn devices. Bastion now down to his little safe grotto on the bottom floor, hiding away. See if he can catch anything. And really floating through that part of the map. And of course, a couple of players in stock, as always is the case. Library now the focus here for INTZ. Drones coming in early.
Oh,
a step in early here from SDK. He's already just like, you know what? I'm going to see if I can take something here. Just wanders in fireplace and up the main staircase. There's no one up there at all. Complete blind spot here from 9Z. They've extended out the office side, and that means that SDK can just move through. But now they realise that it's been taken out from behind them. They have to try and come back. The decay calls as well is going to force them to reposition. For a second, we pause.
Great push there from INTZ, because SDK going up that fireplace stairs just locked out the entire retake attempt to even be thought of by the side of 9Z. They were thinking of it, they realized someone's up there, instantly pulling back towards the opposite side of the map as the razor blooms are starting to pop slightly, no damage really being done. I'm afraid of an Arthur disconnect if I see him running the same place.
Yeah.
That would be very unfortunate, considering he's also carrying the diffuser. 90 seconds left. That is the worst thing to happen right now, because they had that shield. It wasn't even man count. And now they're just going to have to try and make do. And NitroCell will blow Angels out of the sky. And with that, in that 3v3 situation now, 3v5 situation now, 9Z have been given a slight gift, but the Raps at least find something in return. Still, the top floor is under control of INTZ. However, there is two still about on the roam. Scorps being one of them. He's waiting patiently for the right sound to be made, for the right call to come through. He's being watched by two, though. SDK, Raps, both holding around on that top floor. No pressure really coming down, so Raps is deciding to put up a little bit of pressure by these incendiary balls, by these smoke balls. That is going to cause them some push to come to shove. Legacy, I believe, has dropped. He's trying to take care of Pantry. He's deciding to go aggressive here. We'll find one for the efforts. Now they can start going back and actually go for the plan. They still have to cover up above, so they have the opportunity to stall any of the flanks that are coming through. The smokes are all hitting. Another kill to come in from Legacy. The smoke phase now goes to the plant. Raps is there for the cover, but they've lost the top floor of their control. One more to fall. The last is in Pantry. The plant is down. Legacy wins it out. INTZ managed to clutch that round, even though they had a disconnect from the Montaigne. An instant kill to come through afterwards from a 3v5. Managed to just fight it back.
So much fantastic early work there done from INTZ. It did look like they had the round kind of starting to formulate. They're going to be in control of theirs, but they unfortunately lost a player. But they didn't care. They were like, you know what, let's just start still going through the motions. We'll continue holding these angles, hopping in windows, pressuring people, and it works so well. INTZ's attacks are just looking absolutely phenomenal. Sure, that was maybe a round that they probably should have lost there, 5-3, but they do it. They get the job done there. We'll come back to our faces for a second, just because again we have to get our faces out there sometimes, even though I'm starting to lose the light now. This is what's happening.
We're getting quite close with the amount of minutes that we have to be on screen, so we're getting close to the quota, champ. So we're getting out there, but these rounds, they have been in favor, of course, of INTC in general, but that last round especially, that shows the grit and the determination that they have, because they were in the back foot. They lost that Montaigne. That's a pretty big tool, quite literally, to lose out of your arsenal like that without getting anything in return. And shortly afterwards, the entry kill also goes against you. So it's a pretty tough fight. But because SDK moved up that lobby staircase that quickly, or the fireplace staircase that quickly, they had a library. And I think that is quite literally the most important thing they could have had right there. The smokes start to come in from the Capital with the firebolt onto Pantry as well. SDK just decides to do one of those things. Again, like, either you'll be praised to hell for the movements you made, or you'll be damned if it goes wrong. But he decided to go aggressive, gets himself a kill, and from there on, they just managed to take that round home.
Just fantastic stuff from INTZ. They were really good on the attacks as well on Bank. It's exactly the same story that we're starting to see here again. They're continuing through that. 9Z, they're just leaving gaps around the place that I want to be on the side of INTZ and talk about the positivity and how well they're doing to find these gaps and do really well, like STK stepping up there. But that's a couple of times he's done that. 9Z are really kind of leaving the door open for them, and I think they really need to stop doing that. They need to maybe condense things a little bit. But just sometimes it's okay just to do a little closer to a turtle strap. Maybe just hold together, get closer to the site, and maybe not extend as far, because they're getting boxed out.
In round one, you had the Solace, of course, down in the basement. He was actually playing on a snowmobile staircase, and whilst SDK was trying to do the exact same thing in that round, he actually got picked up. So it might have been like we managed to catch them off guard, so they're probably not going to try and do it again, but they spotted the opportunity, they went for it, and they just managed to succeed on the back of it. But like, they've punished it before, so it's not like the gap has always been there. It's just seen and instantly taken by INTC. And I think that deserves praise, because they see an opportunity. They just go for it, even if they're two men down, even if they lose a shield to no fault of their own like that. And they managed to put themselves on a better position. Already map one under control, 4 rounds on the attack now on Chalet, or is it 3? I'm not quite sure. Was it 3 or was it 4? 3 rounds, okay. I'm already getting ahead of myself. So with that, like, they've already done what they need to do on Chalet, and they have 2 more rounds to try and even put themselves in a better position.
Yeah, that's the concerning thing as well, if you got off to a really good start on a map. The thing is we've seen 9Z fight back in a lot and on Bank, but you don't want that to happen again. You don't want to be on on the deficit, trying to stare down the barrel of like 4 or 5 match points. That's not where you want to be sitting. You really want to try and get some rounds chained together, get the confidence boosted, because again, 9Z have defeated this team before. It's already been done. You can do it again. It's just pressure though. This is the big game. This is the game that matters. You're going to be getting to qualify for SAL at the end of the day. You're going to be in the big leagues, and so that's maybe just something that's just going to be in their mind.
It is, and that also works against you, right? Like, INTZ, they have everything going for them now. They have that map up. They're doing well on their attacks. They seem to be in control of the matchup itself. That will start building that momentum. That will start building that confidence in that team. Whereas on 9Z's side, of course, you've beaten them twice before, but this is the match that matters. This is the one match where you need to be beating them. And it's the same as what we had in EML, of course, where we had the old Project Zero lineup, of course, Secret Academy going up against Heretics, the old Project Zero lineup. And it's like, you've beat us all year in every given competition, but the one game it matters, Secret Academy was able to beat them at that point. And it could be the same here. Like, it doesn't matter if you beat them all year round. This is the game where you qualify for the top tier league. Yep. This is the game that changes your life, which gives you a career, which allows you to start playing for majors, for the 6th Invitational, to start really being like that full-time team. And what you need to do then is make sure that this game, what matters is that you win that one and not all the other games that you've had up until this point.
Yeah, exactly. We are going to have a little look at the bracket just while we're waiting to get back into the game. We'll pull it up in just a second to see exactly how we got here. We've had a look at it a few times today, so a little kind of reminder that this is, of course, a rediscovery and a revisit to a clash that's already happened. INTZ in the top lost to 9Z in the upper bracket semi-final, and then they're meeting each other again today. And so far, INTZ is currently in front right now. But back to the game, Hap. We're getting into this. 3-1 is the score. INTZ are up. They're controlling it for now. And it looks as though 9Z are going to take us down to kitchen dining defense. Denari coming through. Arune as well. Combination. Plenty of lasers to go through.
Plenty of lasers indeed. But remember last time around when we were here, it was a very quick push coming into the side. It was very bloody from both these sides. But West Main was basically taken and instantly stormed through by the side of INTZ. That is something to keep into mind right now. Are they going to be watching that carefully on 9Z's side, or are they going to trust in the fact that it doesn't happen again? Because it is unlikely that INTZ is going to choose the exact same approach for this round as well.
Elaborate. Again, big contention point always in Chalet. STK is already in the building, because why not? That's just what he does. He's just like, yeah, you know what, I'm a Maverick. I have a job to do somewhere in the round, but right now it is finding a gap. He's going to head in, takes quite a bit of damage. Not too bothered by it for now. Scarps is holding on that staircase just for the time being. Yes,
Nitro is a brave man. He's just prone inside a trophy, holding, waiting. There's a teammate on side of Solarium staircase. Like that is literally his form of defense that he needs to rely on. Because as soon as they figure out he's there, he is going to be a dead man walking. Smokes to be used. The opening will be made by STK, and well, there is no glass, but when there's a smoke like that, you're always going to be worrying that there might be. So firing back right through it, fire arrows coming through as well from the side of Raps. And hey, look at that, there's the Blitz. Arthur will be able to find the very first kill. The second to fall over the top as well. The plant was for a second to be attempted out there, but they realize there's still a man around in the kitchen, but they're enveloping him to take him out. It is a very quick round from INTZ. They are absolutely dominating. And as I said, 1-4 before, it's not too far off as they're 2 kills away from making it reality. The last 2 are up above. Make that 1 as they are all being taken out. A flawless round from INTZ. They are storming to SAL.
They absolutely are. It was a beautiful round to behold. They come back after a little break and they do not lift their boot from the neck of 9Z. They're all like, yeah, we're just going to keep on going. And pushing you and pushing you and pushing you, swinging absolutely everything, taking all the gaps that you've left us. STK again, he's just, I'm just gonna head right up here. Just gonna step in there and see what we can get. INTZ, they're just phenomenal work, collapsing onto the site, spotting where the weak points are. in the armour of 9Z as they head to what is a pretty dominant half so far. If they close this out 5-1, I really worry for 9Z. INTZ just look really, really good. They just look good. That's all you can really say.
Again, they're just so overwhelmingly dominant in some of these rounds. They start putting up the pressure, they just rush in, and they manage to find these kills because they're so well aware of every single position of the defending team. You see it with that blitz, he runs in, takes care of one, the cover is already enveloping around because they know what a second person is going to be showing up, and it just keeps going like that. And INTZ, they managed to find out 4 attacking rounds already. That is huge, first of all, because that is more than what you need to get on Chalet. I would say 3-3 is a fair split. They managed to get that 4 in, so definitely doing well, building on that momentum they've been building on Bank when they were under attacks. Now they have one more opportunity to make it a 5-1, to better their first half that they had on Bank, and really make sure that they are the ones that are the favorites to go to SAL.
They currently definitely are with the form that they're in just now. STK taking early damage, trying to prod at that window next to main stairs. He pulls back for now, hops back on the drone and trying to get some more information. Mezzanine, there is a player at the top there. There's also a player in the bathroom on the other side for Angels. They're going to be pushed away. Was indeed Tuku that was in there for a second. Or regress in the form of a longer angle this time with the TCSGs. He just waits for someone to pass by that window and potentially not look at the right point. First minute gone. Also the shield gone as well from Tuku's side. But he's intent on sticking onto it. He wants to get himself a kill here.
He does. He's putting himself quite wide though. It's a big net to be caught in. As a minute 30 is left, they are droning things out. Oh, look at that. That is a Goyo, fully aware now of where he was. He's not going to be sticking around. He's not going to be playing around where he was. As Arthur slowly moving up, the barbed wire is keeping him at bay slightly. There's a lot of ROUs being placed there. I really don't want anybody to be using Ivy here, and that can kind of tell you what kind of fuse, what kind of approach this will be. They just want to go in from that bathroom. They just want to get in that diffuser close right behind the B-bomb chassis. And as those ROUs are rolling and are projecting that light, a minute is left and the execute seems nearby.
Seems like it's just about to happen. Legacy gets the first kill on the board of this round. Tuku, the first one gone. Held that position for so long, trying to get something on the bathroom window, but he doesn't get it. The KB calls continue to ring through. They'll have a lock on where they are. Ooh. But Nitro will catch Arthur just passing by. That's a big pick. That's the Montaigne on as well. The shield, focal point of your attack. Raps and STK get 2 quick punches though into the gut of 9Z, and then they follow up with a haymaker to finish off that round. INTZ, they finish off 5-1 on the first half of Chalet.
And you said that Montaigne was the spearhead of their attack, Cham. They have 5 spearheads in this attack. The Montaigne is not the only one that is able to make them push because they're all over the map. They're all over them. And it's just such a dominant attack. But, you know, there is a bright side here, Cham. Do you know what it is?
What's that?
INTZ's done attacking. So
yeah,
they can... It's now 9Z's turn to start building the momentum, to start building the pace, and INTZ can just sit back, relax. They've done the work. They just need to get 2 rounds from here, and they are inside of the SAL.
2 singular rounds between you and a year at the top. Can they close it out, though? Different half, different pace. Seen how attacker-sided both these teams are. I'll see if that continues to be on theme. Bar and Gaming is where we head to for the first one. Fenrir combination with a castle as well, so different attempt on the hold for this floor than what we've seen 9Z using. Warden also featuring. You know what I'm also been enjoying as well? There's been quite a bit of Jaeger playing today, and I've been quite enjoying it, you know?
Been quite a lot of grenades being tossed out, so I fully understand. Red INTZ, you have literally everything in the world right now going your way. You have that first map, you have 4 rounds of a lead, you're going onto the defensive side right now against a 9Z that you've just beaten down time and time again with overwhelming passion. All you need is 2 rounds. One at least to confirm yourself for an overtime situation, which puts the pressure up even more. Like, it's not so much about, okay, overtime is secured when they reach that 6. It's more of a 9Z issue where they're like, okay, we cannot afford a single mistake anymore, or we're out of this competition and have to wait a year.
Yeah. I'm ready to go though. I feel like 9Z still have more in the tank. I feel like they still have something left. I don't think this is completely over here. As dominant as INTZ have been on their attacking side, their defense on Bank specifically left a bit to be desired at times in terms of the complacency and the waiting around. This time though, of course, we wait for pieces to start moving. First minute already gone. Still doing some setup. SDK opening up some vertical angles. It's not even SDK, sorry. Legacy's SDK is the one that's roaming around the bottom floor. He will be about to find himself in an engagement to spot a player for a second there. Takes quite a bit of damage and he just keeps peeking into it. Scarps is going to be happy with that. Shuts down nuisance operator. He's gone now.
That's a little choice for SDK there as soon as he got caught on that side of the door, right? Like, there was nowhere he could go. If he sticks and waits, he knows that the windows will start to receive some pressure and he'll just be caught off at some point. So his best bet was either to just run, but then the angle will be widened and you still get caught off, or it was to take the fight and hope that you find a lucky headshot. Oh, result was the same. He died in the end, did a bit of damage, but nothing too worthy of noting. This is one, though, as Raps goes aggressive, but he misses the shots. Nitro takes him out, and that is a double entry for the side of 9C. Now, though, still having to work on taking control of that library. That is the big point, as Legacy gets one, gets back inside. There's still Angels up on the top floor. There's a single man in the site, but they want to have that library control, and that might actually be what is causing them to drop eventually. Flashbangs to come through, but the window can be watched from above because there is that library player still out and about. At this point, I'm even wondering if there was any defender left on the side itself, because it seems they're all up above as Legacy will be dropped. Angels stepping up in mezzanines, looking to see if he can find anybody. Arthur is holding off the player that is on the window with that diffuser. He can make sure that diffuser goes cold, that kick goes cold, and if that happens, suddenly everything changes as it creates more verticalities. Angels will take out one over above. 20 seconds left, Jam.
There absolutely is now. HP dwindling on Pano's side, down to the last 15. Angels still holding on to the top. Arthur decides to drop eventually back into the site to see if someone's going to force a doorway, because they're going to have to do something here. 9Z have to get a move on. Angels still holding on to library. 5 seconds. They've doubled up. They've sent it from above. Angels with a triple. INTZ. They hold on to library, and they hold on to the round, and they will be in with a chance of winning this 7-1.
It's the angel of death from above, as they were thinking it was the one safe place to plant. And I don't understand why, considering the fact that they knew there was 3 people up top. They killed one, another dropped down on the ground, but there's still a player unaccounted for at that point. And that hatch, that was the one place he could have stricken from, and he's done so. 1-6 INTZ, you have 5 rounds. 5 rounds to confirm your faith. 5 rounds to make sure the Argentinians are not reaching the SAL, and once again it is going to be dominated by the Brazilians.
Incredible. Truly incredible. Look at this from Angels. Absolutely gorgeous stuff. Knew where they would be coming from. Knew they had a job to do. Retakes that position, but questions have to be asked about 9Z. Not, they just abandoned library, left it. They had the player advantage, but from other ways. INTZ, that'll feel good though. That'll feel absolutely fantastic for INTZ. Now they've got 5 series points ahead of them, 5 qualification points. So much breathing room. They'll be wanting to get the job done now. They'll be wanting to just close it out, put 9Z to the sword, move on into a year of SAL, but 9Z, who haven't decided to take a timeout or anything or discuss anything yet, so...
It's just not one thing. It is INTC is just such on a roll right now. There's no stopping this train. It's going to take a miracle for 9Z to get back into this game, to turn it around and to push us towards Fortress. And again, they might have beaten them twice before in this single competition, in the Challenger Series, and every phase of it, but this is the game that matters. This is the game that decides who is going through and who will have to wait a year. Our Ciroteros are being stalled out by the Tubarão. Eventually the breach will be made. Legacy will be forced to fall slightly out of it. He's actually lost his own reticle thanks to the ice. And STK, again, he is a cheeky one, and he's doing cheeky things once more. There's too many to choose from. And Nitro will find that kill. He goes quite low, but that is not low enough, and STK finds himself the entry yet once more.
Angels will get one back. Legacy with another, and like that, the kill feed just completely erupts. 2 versus 3 now, halfway through the round, and there's only one player for 9Z to try and stop INTZ from going to SAL, but they won't be able to do it. INTZ are the next team to qualify for SAL 2026, and what a dominant display that we have just seen. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Send a flaming spear into the heart of Argentina, and Brazil dominates once again.
Again, I said it yesterday on the email. We were headed towards the land of siege, and Brazil, they have shown that they are the superior team here today. INTZ, dominating fashion. Again, it could have been a 7-2, 7-1. 9Z fought back valiantly on that first map. But before we break that down any further, we are headed to a quick break before we break it down and hear something from the winners.
what a game, what a series we just saw, but a big congratulations to INTZ for making it up to the SAL. A big thing for the organization as well, because, you know, some of those who've been watching Siege back in the day may remember this organization and may have seen them before, but they've actually not been around in our ecosystem since 2022. So 4 years later, they find themselves back at the highest level of Brazil competition, and that is just amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. Like, we're super happy to see this team make it so far, and these individual hero plays in certain rounds really stood out.
Yes, but it wasn't hero plays. Like, it looks like it, but like the entire team is coming on the back of it, and because, like, of course there's like Arthur is rushing in first with the shield and he's finding 2 kills on the back of it, but what you then don't see is that on the other parts of the map the entire attacking team is enveloping around it, is also pushing right behind him, so he's never really alone, especially in those attacks, and that really has been the difference maker here today. Those attacks were absolutely beautiful from INTZ. They were coordinated, they were aggressive, and they were well put together. So that is something to keep in mind there. Actually, I love this replay, by the way. The Angel of Death from above. Really making sure that that one was still being won. Again, it was such a hard round for them to actually take on INTZ, but well done in the end there.
Just truly fantastic, and I can only really just echo Hap's point. It's the same thing. It was just brilliant attacking play the entire time from INTZ. They did it on Bank, they did the same on Chalet, and that's the brilliance of attacking play, is that if you can get a good attacking half when you're starting on it, your job feels like it's almost done. You just need to close it out. You can kind of rest it out, because that's the hard part done. That's the part with all the coordination needed done, and 9Z just didn't have any solution for it. They couldn't deal with the tenacity that INTZ were bringing the entire time, and it is, you know, disappointing to see that they couldn't quite get something going. They couldn't make it a closer game, but I do think that INTZ were just too brilliant today.
They were, and even in situations where they were looking down and out with a player disconnecting, for example, they still somehow find a way to claw that round back. That is very impressive, and that shows that you always have a plan B ready, and it shows the depth in this team as well. Now, we can take one more look at the bracket, because as we are done with the SAL, we've done our job here. We sent 2 teams to the SAL through these challenger series here. It's kind of, I guess, disappointing if you are a neutral viewer that both these finals were in fact 2-0s. Very big shame. Commiserations for 9Z Chem, but the way they lost both these chances of making it to the SAL, and now they have to wait a year before they have a chance again.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. You come through that upper bracket, you beat the team that you've just lost to as well, and you go up against a really strong Imperial team, you know. But I guess the good thing to look at it, you know, if we want to talk about the positive, the fact that both finals, yes, they were one-sided, but that shows just how strong both of these teams are, and it shows that when they step up into SAL, they will be able to compete, hopefully at that level. Hopefully they can continue playing like this, because if INTZ can bring that kind of level of passion, that level of coordination to the league, they'll be another brilliant Brazilian roster to bring in there.
I'm just super happy for them. INTC, I wasn't even sure they were out of the circuit for that long. And like when you said I was like, no, they've been part of us forever. Like I've always remembered INTC being there, and at some point it just stopped coming to majors. But I guess it just stopped being in the scene instead of stopped coming to majors.
Yeah, it's like I looked it up, and the last time they played before they picked up Magnetica inside of this challenge series here was August 6th, 2022, Copa do Brasil. Oh. So that is in fact a very long time, which they lost, by the way. So they lost their last game inside of the ecosystem we have right here with Rainbow Six Siege, but they're back now and they are in Tier 1, so big congratulations to these players. Unfortunately, we do not get to speak to them, but that means we can conclude things here for the SAL Challenger Series. As we already mentioned earlier today, there is so much going on, though. I mean, you two worked EML earlier. That is now fully locked out as well. APL is locked out too, but there is just one more spot in these Tier 1 competitions that is up for grabs. Either In Control or Letam's Last Hope will get that final spot for the NAL tonight at 10 p.m. CET. That is about 2.5 hours from now. We thank you so much for watching here with the SAL Challenger Series, and we hope to see you again for the very next time. For now, have a good night.